Yesterday, on July 1st, Yves Lampaert won the first stage of the Tour de France. 2 days ago, on June 30th, here he is as John Deere YL, playing some Age of Empires 2. So what do you do as your preparation for racing in the Tour de France? Well, you play Age of Empires, so here he will be in the red. We have a 2v2 going on. I've seen he's played a few games with Imp into GG, so they are familiar as teammates. And he actually is the highest rated player in this game. Now, he's definitely not the same expert at Age of Empires like he is at cycling, but he has been around the community. A couple of years ago, he actually played in a 3v1 against the Viper, our resident top Age of Empires player. So he definitely knows what to do and is starting out. I guess we can speed up the Dark Age just a bit until the game really gets going. But he clearly knows what to do, putting the pigs underneath the TC and gathering from them, while also taking another pig and scouting around your base like you want to do at the start. And heading straight out to wood. So normally you get 6 on food to keep the villas producing, then you head out to that lumber camp, and everything's perfect so far. Over in the southwest of the map, we'll have Imp into GG as his teammate, playing as the Mongols in the yellow. And then on the opposite side of the map, first in the blue, we'll have Gubby as the Tatars, and then in the green, we'll have Reina de Missa as the Vietnamese. Now we see, this is kind of a unique map. And in a standard map, you would have not just 1, but 2 wild boars. Now you gotta be careful here to bring the boar into your TC, as that Vil, ooh, she takes a hit. Stopped walking there for a second, but we'll actually get the boar in, and very nicely positioned there under the TC. You see, sometimes that Vil, you don't reset the gather point and they keep walking out towards the boar. You gotta remember to change that. But as I was saying, only 1 boar instead of 2, and no berries. Instead, you have the shorefish out here. Normally, you have a patch of forage bushes that you mill. But I was looking to go out to the shorefish. It deletes the mill to go for the ibexes, though. Yeah, the shorefish normally are faster than the ibexes, so I would have probably kept the mill out there at the start, but it'll be good to bring in both sources of food. Now, sometimes you have to get creative to figure out how to get the 500 food you need to click up to the Feudal Age if you don't have the standard start. And it looks like his team actually does have a lead of 2 villagers, 35 to 33 now. That villager count will be at the bottom of the scoreboard there at the top of Capture Age. We'll try to keep an eye on that. As his teammate... Ooh, actually, his teammate doing a pretty good job of taking the ibexes. They do run away from your scout, so if you get in the right position, you can push it to the TC. Looks like he got the first one, and second one didn't want to cooperate that much. I also like how Lampaert has started walling his base off. He's gotten... Oh, that's a nice barracks, too. He'll have a nice safe wall off using the front of that gold there, and this part of his base in front of his TC will be safe. It has a nice back gold to the south of his TC there that should be safe as well. And if he can just get a bit of walling up around here on the northeast, finish the walling down here around to the west, and then to the south, he'll be in a pretty safe position. Green also going to mill those ibexes. I might call them deer because they just reskinned deer, but they are a good source of food and they'll help you to click up to the Feudal Age. And looks like green actually is up, as is yellow and as is Lampaert. And looks like he actually will be the first one up to the Feudal Age, so using that, well, as indicated by that ELO score there, he hopefully will be looking to carry the game. Now, he doesn't have any vills under the TC. This is where things are going to get awkward. They're all kind of over on that shorefish there, and he's going to add in a stable. Now, with the Persians and Mongols as their civs, we'll see what the Mongol player decides to do. I don't see any gold yet, so this might be stables from both of them. And it is indeed. Oh, look at that. They're Xing on the mini-map. Pointing out the red X on the green TC, the yellow X on the blue TC, pointing out where their opponents are. That is great teamwork down there. That's exactly what you want to be doing. And with these civilizations, Tatars also typically a cavalry civ. Could go archers though, and Vietnamese, usually you want to be doing archers with them. We are seeing some stone walls coming out though already, and that's a lot of fish being brought in. And we'll see, ooh, that scout from blues there, hiding near the mill, trying to blend in with the deep water. And we have the blacksmith and bloodlines already coming out on the stable. All right, a few farms in. Normally, if you're going scouts, you want to prioritize getting more farms in before adding the blacksmith, because you need the food to keep producing the scouts. But now that we're up to feudal, we'll have some action going on, as he could pick a villager here or one over by the shorefish there. Yeah, he's gonna go get the first blood of the game and take out that vill before she can get the stone walls up. And this is a pretty big opening for green now, is their base will be open and all of these vills have to run. There's two spearmen mixed in there. And these scouts will have to run away. Ooh, 3 spearmen out already. Alright. So, the mobility of the scouts, they can run around to get to different parts of the base, force the spearmen to keep running, but they don't want to take a straight up fight against the spearmen. Lots of gold being taken here for green. And is that a spearman? Yep, a spearman over by that wood line as well. So green looks to be pretty well defended, as we'll get some walls up here all around the base and more farms being added in. Well, I like that. That's exactly what you want to do if you're going scouts, adding lots of farms. And meanwhile, on the other side, we see the scouts from yellow about to come in, try to get in a raid on blue. And not really going to find anything, though, as we'll see. Oh, it looks like the scouts decided to dive on the wood line, but he might not have seen that spearman was stuck in there with the villagers. And that spear goes down, and we'll see what are the HPs. It's a lot of low HP villagers there, and, you know, when scouts have bloodlines, you need more than one spear to fend them off, and that is a great raid. Absolutely massacring that wood line. All the vills go down, and still has 3 scouts left. All right, there's 1 spear on that gold mine, as we see blue trying to get, or yellow trying to get in on blue's base as well. Losing a couple scouts to the spears, though, and trying to dive under the TC. Oh, looks like they paused. Oh no, he had problems. Taking a fight against the spear on the hill. I don't know if that was a lag issue or maybe a voice call drop if they're playing together. But now both of them doing quite a bit of damage, actually up 78 to 61 in terms of villager count. No real army coming out from green and blue yet. And these scouts are still going to be running around trying to pick villagers. Just have to be so careful of those spearmen there. I get a couple more scouts. Now with only 2 scouts left, yellow can't really kill vills like they could have before. But blue is up to the castle age, even in front of yellow, despite all of that damage they just took. And I wonder what they'll be doing once they get there. That's a lot of farms out, so it could be an eco for knights. Also has the mining camp up on the gold. But I think so far, red, with this great eco balance behind the scouts, is playing a very good game so far. We'll see blue moving out to the stone. Ooh, these scouts from Lampaert here could pick off those villagers if they see them later. There's a low HP scout, but they will see them. I hope he doesn't engage on the fight. He doesn't quite have enough HP on the scouts, but he could circle back later. And now it is green's turn to try to break in and go for a bit of a counterattack here. And the villagers trying to attack the scout, but the archers behind. They do have fletching for that +1 attack and +1 range. This is such an annoying thing, as the scout is on the inside, but it looks like the other scouts have... Ooh, they actually did pick a villager on that stone mine, and they got 2 of them. A slight hill bonus here, I think, for this red scout against that vill, and actually we'll pick all 3 of them, so great use of the scouts there, just as blue's getting up to the castle age. And looks like blue will be trying to move forward with some spearmen. But, ooh, even another great play, a defensive tower. The annoying thing here was the scout was on the inside of the wall, so that stopped any vills from trying to re-wall behind that. But the defensive tower will keep the archers at bay, at least for the moment, as Lampaert is just about up to the castle age and is doing fletching himself. Alright, so fletching is the upgrade for your archers. And we see he's going just about fully walled here. Bit weird to add the double stable and then fletching, but it will help your tower and your TC if you get raided, but you really want to be concentrating on those armor upgrades for the knights. I guess you already had those 2 Feudal Age melee upgrades for the knights, so might as well just add in fletching if you have the resources. But he is up. Pretty decent castle time for having gone scouts, still around 22 minutes. And he'll be pumping out those knights from 2 stables, looking to get pretty aggressive with them. Those archers just about to break in, but 7 archers, the knights, they do have their armor. Even if they get in, the knights should be able to clean them up. I'm just wondering where the knights will go, starting to rally them to the front of his base. On the other side, it looks like yellow gets the TC up just before blue's pikemen come in. He needs to garrison the TC to shoot the arrows at them and fend them off. And blue, oh, but blue has been mining stone all this time, and once that snow leopard goes down, it's gonna be blue's turn to go for a castle drop, probably. Meanwhile, the archers get in, and the knights are out of position. I don't know where the knights have been. They were forward, and he has to bring them back. We'll have to garrison the villas in the tower to keep them alive. Still a 20 villager lead for this team, as green is just up to castle age. It'll be the final player clicking up. And the knights will come in and try to intercept the archers. This is where the archers want to be targeting the villagers. The knights are a bit too tanky for the archers really to fight back. There's a couple of low HP vills on this wood line. If green were going to pay attention a bit more... Oh, perfect. Finds the low HP vill and takes him out. So good use of the archers there from green as they were getting cleaned up, just finding that extra vill pick. But here is that castle drop I was seeing earlier. Blue, with all of the stone, is going forward. And with the Tatars, the unique unit is the Keshik. It's a cavalry unit that will be pretty good at raiding. And yellow looks to be in a spot of trouble here. His team has the score lead for the moment, but how is he going to deal with this forward castle? Has one knight out, but especially with the pikemen there, won't be enough to deny it. It's at 85% and still going up. The knights will start poking away at a couple more villagers. And it goes up. These knights are just going to try to run over there, help out the teammate, but with the castle there, they won't be able to take a fight. Not there in time. Unfortunately, they're going to do something he's not familiar with and lose a race. Anyway, it looks like blue, concentrating fully on that aggression, has a few idle vills under that TC, but yep, here come the unique units, here come the Keshiks. And yellow's gonna try to go for a bit of a wall behind this. We'll see if he gets it up in time. Looks like the stable's going to go down. And what I'm worried about is this wall, it doesn't really fully wall the base over here, and there's no army out to defend. But instead it looks like Lampaert here is going to go for a bit of a counterattack. As green, kind of just safe in their base, fully walling up the side of the map, just getting their boom on. And these knights are going to come in from the back of the back, and if that castle is forward, well, that means there's nothing backwards to defend the base. And here come the knights getting in on the farming eco. They have +2 armor, which is exactly what you want. That TC, no fletching yet, no upgrades on it. It will only be doing 1 damage per arrow to these knights, even if the Vill's garrison. And now blue is in a spot of trouble, as that Vill lead for our cyclist team here continues to increase. Blue has to ring the town bell, going to garrison all of the vills as the knights run around. Now this is where he might even want to be a bit more aggressive with the knights. You want to click the TC, you check that it has +0 on the ranged attack, and you know you have that +2 armor. You can sit underneath it and kill villagers all you want. You don't need to be so passive running around the outside. You can look to sit right underneath it. And even against these pikemen, you have enough knights, you can try to take fights against them. Still more vills out here on the outside if he's able to get around. But it looks like yellow is getting up a defensive castle as blue has gone for their second castle. But these Keshiks now, they are doing so much damage on this eco here. And a bit of a quick wall coming in. Yellow trying to keep their villagers alive in this wood line. As here come the knights, but under 2 castles. Castle arrows do a lot more damage than TC arrows. They're going to have to run away.
So long.
And wall going up here on the left, but the Keshiks are already in. And yellow is taking a lot of damage. These 2 castles going to shoot at each other. The heal bonus, I don't think actually matters in a castle versus castle fight. It doesn't change the all the secondary arrows they shoot, and I don't think it's enough to overcome the armor for the primary arrow. But now red coming back, trying to do some more damage to blue, who has gotten out a few more pikemen, but this will be a decent fight for these red knights here. As on the right though, palisade walls do not stop crossbows. Crossbows can break right through them. And now, Yves gonna have to garrison some of his farmers here, get them into the TC. Does a good job of it and keeps them safe. Who gets the low HP one, keep her safe. Oh, she gets away. These crossbows don't have ballistics. They had tried to dive the TC to get the Vill, but won't quite get to her. Instead, they'll be cleaned up by the TC. And that Vill, low HP and farming, but it looks like she'll still survive. As, well, great usage of the TC garrison there to get the crossbows as they were trying to walk through. And this, oh, this is crazy forward castle aggression. That's why these, there's so many different ways to play Age of Empires, and it's great to see the double forward castle trap. Like, this is basically killed yellow. Like, oh man. Lampaert might be the best player in this game, but he's almost reduced to playing a 1v2 at this point. He did a lot of damage to blue, and his team still does have a villager lead, but that gap is closing, as the Keshiks will be running around the back of yellow's base here. And yellow just going to relocate his economy to that safe area under the castle. Actually, there's not a lot of wood here, but there are some ibexes here and some stone and gold he could be taking. And he does have quite a few Mangudai. If he can amass a good number of Mangudai, he could use them to take another fight against those Keshiks. Oh, but that's even more dead villagers there. And that being said, though, if you look at the vill counts up here, 40 vills for yellow compared to 37 for blue. So it's still a decent vill lead. Looks like green is going for some barracks and pikemen. He sees that he'll be facing up against knights, so wants to add in some of those pikemen to help out. Has enough crossbows, and these are... The Vietnamese crossbows have 42 HP, a bit more than a normal crossbow does. And while those knights were trying to help out on the other side of the map, hitting blue's eco, green has been untouched. He has a pristine, unperturbed economy. And even on only 2 TCs, has been booming up and is on 4 archery ranges and will be pumping out those crossbows. Has the economy to do it, is now... with the +2 upgrade for the attack, and is adding in the melee armor upgrades for the pikemen as well. So if we only see knights here from our red player, then we might be in a difficult spot, but we do see the archery range transition. We probably want to see skirms, but remember, we do already have fletching from earlier and now Botkin arrow, and a defensive castle coming up. I might have liked to have seen that castle a bit more forward just to secure that gold in these forward farms and actually stop the crossbows from breaking in through the wall. And nice fight here, picking off the crossbows as they're coming forward without the main bulk of their army. But this would be a close fight if he were to engage. Probably doesn't want to do it. Instead, I think he just needs to, get the skirmishers out. So exactly the counter unit. They counter the crossbows and are decent to add in against the pikemen as well. We'll have another small engagement here as the crossbows with the hill advantage will fend off the knights, and retreating, I think this is the right decision here. You don't want to be fighting against that hill. You want to get your skirmishers out. And now having, see the Persians, war elephants, a bit too expensive to be useful in this situation. But the skirmishers, elite skirm, that'll be a great transition for him. Meanwhile, yellow and blue still just having a castle fight over here. Still, 39 to 41, pretty close on the vill counts. This is the problem though. Yellow has kept their TC garrisoned, and if your TC isn't really shooting at anything, you want to keep those villagers working. Even if you might lose the TC, you don't want to have an idle economy of 12 villagers. You see a few pikemen coming here to raid, but Mangudai will be great at stopping the pikemen, as yellow wants to add in even another TC. But at the same time, green is pushing into red's base here. And even though red has the eco lead, 89 vills to 66, down in military, 18 to 42, that's a lot of crossbows, a lot of pikemen, and we need to see a few skirmishers here. This is a situation where you probably also want to think about maybe adding in a siege workshop, getting out some mangonels or scorpions to fend off the crossbows and the pikemen. Now, good job keeping the forward vills off of those farms, but this is where I'm looking at that castle positioning. Had it been over here earlier, he wouldn't have had to surrender all this part of his base. Now, he's going to put up a castle, sending quite a few vills. Will green notice and engage? No, green's going to retreat. Because at the same time, nice counterattack up here, picking the villagers on that stone mine and taking a few crossbows. This is the danger of the crossbows. You need them amassed and together to do damage, so if your army is forward, your reinforcements can get picked off. So great move here with the knights. Coming in, trying to attack the base. These vills are going to try to wall themselves off, but I don't think that'll get up in time. The knights will get in. Will it? No, they're running around. There's still stuff they can hit back here, but that would have been great had they gotten in. They'll still pick off some crossbows, though, on that lake. And we'll see what he decides to do with them. Could run around and go in, but ooh, that's actually walled off. There's still a hole around that lake. And as he's running around, it looks like the Mangudai are finally coming over to get a bit of a counterattack onto blue, as the castles continue to shoot at each other. If you have the Mangudai inside the castle, it does make them loose a few more arrows every volley. And here come the knights, but great quick walls from Green as he keeps the knights out of his base. And here come a bunch of pikemen trying to engage on the knights. A couple of them are going to sneak through that hole though, but the bulk of them will get trapped here and probably picked off. So nice quick walling from Green. Not the best army control here. And a lot of those knights will go down. So that was potentially a really nice raid, but just a couple things needed to go better for him. Needed to get inside here before those walls got up when there was an opening. But at the same time, he has protected his base. He still does have a massive villager lead. The problem, though, is Yellow is continuing to fall behind. He has 29 vills, but 9 of them still idle in that TC. Ooh, even more. Okay, that's not an idle vill, it's just a empty TC. Does have a relic, though. That'll give him a bit of gold over time. Castle with the Mangudai in it. Mangudai is such a great unit, but Green now will be our first player up to the Imperial Age. Now, these crossbowmen, they will turn into arbalests. They will get that extra blacksmith upgrade from the Imperial Age, that bracer upgrade. And Imp will also unlock the possibility for doing the chemistry attack, the chemistry upgrade, so that'll be a total of an extra 3 attack they can get. And it's very difficult to fight arbalests when you're still in the Castle Age. That's they're a cheap unit. You get a big power spike with them. They don't scale quite as well as the paladins or the heavy cavalry units do. But Green making perhaps a bit of a mistake here, moving forward before Imp. And he's just going to be running crossbows into skirmishers. He might have enough pikemen to make this work, but we'll have to see how this fight goes. These are skirmishers with a hill advantage. Problem is they only have 1 armor though. They really need both of those armors, otherwise the crossbowman can do a decent job of killing them. And looks like Red will have to retreat here. And we do see Yves up to the Imperial Age as well, but will be struggling with this army at the front of his base. Still does have a score lead, still does have an eco lead, but he needs to hold his Imperial Age upgrades, the Cavalier and Paladin upgrades, the armor upgrades, the attack upgrades. They're going to be much more expensive than Green's will be, and that's a TC being denied on the front. Actually going to build a TC over by his ally here. Yellow actually has a ram out, might be looking to push. Blue has 2 defensive castles in their base, and it looks like this side of the map is just kind of... Let's see, 30 vills to 45. They really don't have much of an eco over here. Do need a few more rams to push the castle, though 1 isn't enough. Oh, but here comes an aggressive forward castle from Green. I don't see where the vills are, but they'll be coming forward just as he gets Imp. And that castle will be on a hill. This map does seem to have a pretty large hill in the middle. And we gotta see, maybe a few more ranges and a bit more pumping out of them to get more skirms out. This is where a mangonel or a bit of siege would help out as well, being able to help you push up into those crossbows on the hill. As they are, especially if you don't have that armor, crossbows on the hill, and now arbalests, they can definitely take fights against skirms. And there we see arbalest, there's that bracer just being completed and chemistry on the way in. Suddenly they go from 7 to soon to be 10 attack. And Lampaert here will be struggling a bit to defend. As this castle fight here still going on, he needs to delete that TC foundation to get the resources back. If you delete it, you get the resources back that you haven't spent. If it goes down, then you lose everything. And now Green is forward with that forward castle on Lampaert's base. And the skirms are going to come forward, but this is probably not a good fight for him. I thought he had a pretty good lead early on, but losing those knights didn't quite keep the army numbers up. And now Green, 79 army. And this is where the arbalests get scary, when you have that big mass of them that can actually do enough damage to kill the cavalry units. Archer armor, ring archer armor first thing, as Red gets up to Imp, and I like that. That'll make the skirms much better in these fights, but you still need more of them. You're still 30 army to 83. So army's still just posturing on the front, trying to push in. And looks like he's struggling a bit now, as he doesn't have a clear answer to these arbalests right now. Just the skirms, but if we see any type of transition, and there's the trebuchet. So trebuchets, they have a lot of pierce armor. These skirmishers will not be able to destroy them, and that treb can set up outside these walls, use the hill advantage, and start trebbing down that castle. As we see what's in the castle, nothing yet. And again, here the Persians, they don't have the Mangudai or the Keshiks. They don't have a great unique unit. I mean, the War Elephant is great in its own way, but not quite as useful as many of the other units. And definitely not going to be able to push into the pikeman mass here. Yeah, and here we see those skirmishers struggling to do damage, only 1 damage per javelin to that treb. Here comes one knight though, but yeah, not going to do anything when there's so many arbalests still out there. No vills forward for green to repair though. That's a bit of a mistake. You always want to have vills to make sure you can repair your trebs. And this castle looks like it's going to be trebbed down. There's not much army here in defense. There's chemistry, that'll help, but you need more skirms before you can engage. And over here, yellow, looks like yellow still actually might be in the lead against blue. I know the vill counts are down, but Mangudai are still a very useful unit. Here's where you got a good 10 of them or so. This is where you probably want to send them over to green's base. And that's exactly what he's done. Oh, I should have looked at the mini-map, but that's exactly what he's done. Getting in the back of green's base. I like what green's doing here, trying to rush up that TC so we can garrison the vills, but the Mangudai might get there first. As this push on the front, still trebbing down that castle, that's going to go down. 2 trebs now pushing into the TC, but green's taking some damage as well. The problem is, though, green just has such a large army, 65 arbs, only 6 army now for Yves, and how is he going to clean up the arbalests? It's a lot of vills down for green, though. Green down to 56 vills. And something just needs to stop those reinforcements. If those Mangudai could sit just underneath those archery ranges, pick off the reinforcing arbs, maybe, just maybe, that would give us enough time to amass the skirms down here. But still, even though you have the counter unit, it's not enough of them. It's still a pretty big army. Slowly those numbers are dropping. It's not the 80-something arbs it was before. But the trebs are going to start working on that other castle. And, ooh, another forward castle here from green. Trying to be very aggressive as this castle's going to go down. And we have 101 villagers, but where are they? Some of them are idle in that castle. Some of them are in that TC. They need to retreat. There's a few long distance on that wood line over there. And then some have just moved over to the other side of the map. Well, if your ally's not going to use their base, you can use it. As he's getting some stone here. If he could get a castle up on this side of the map, that's where he could add in a trebuchet and start pushing these blue castles. It'd actually be very difficult for green to come over and help blue, since the arbalests wouldn't be able to walk through these castles. And blue looks to be fairly dead as well, just a bit of an eco over here, but those Mangudai all up in his base. A trade cart even. Always do caravan, the speed upgrade for the trade cart. That is the absolute essential upgrade if you're going to be trading. But, oh man, this base. Not much left here. The trebs just doing their job, trebbing down all these buildings, and still trying to produce skirms. Now, the skirms are a good option, and if you look at this economy, lots of wood and lots of gold. That's when you gotta start thinking you can add in the siege workshops. If you can, use the market to rebalance your economy, get that onager upgrade, get a couple onagers out, then you can actually kill the arbalests. Or at the very least, you force your opponent back underneath their castles where they're not going to be pushing forward and taking fights. However, on the other side of the map, we do finally see a castle goes up. Actually, we'll kill quite a few vills from blue here. And we see archery ranges being added on this side, and it looks like Lampaert will just concede this side of the map here and go over to try to help his ally. And he starts getting the Trebs out. And in the Castle Age, there really is no defense against Trebs. And Blue going to be losing more eco to the Mangudai here. I think Yellow's mistake is just Yellow hasn't really been queuing enough villagers here. Has a nice safe TC down here, but I see these TCs have been idle for a while. If you just, you keep pumping out those vills, even if you're down. Pump them out, and eventually you'll have an eco to get back into the game. There are so many castles on this side of the map. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 castles. All right here, basically in a line. Some pikemen chasing the Mangudai, but they'll get picked off by the castle. Now's the worry though, all those vills you had, they're all sitting here idle. It's about to be massacred. Oof, this is gonna be painful to watch, but here come the Yarbs. And there go the villagers. Oh no. Oh no. Great job there from Green. And very well played from Green this game, getting into that Halb Arb unit composition. If you are opening Knights, that Halb transition can be difficult for you to deal with sometimes. And we just never quite had the skirmisher numbers to take a fight like John Deere may have wanted to. But we see now the Trebs, as Zero Empires used to say, once the Trebs are popping, the castles are dropping. And that's one castle down from Blue already, a second castle going down as well. And if Yellow can somehow find a way to get back into this game, they'd be okay, but I think they're a bit too far behind at this point. There's still a lot of Mangudai, but Mangudai really don't want to be fighting the Vietnamese Arbalests, as the rest of this base will be taken out. Just a few vills left. Down, we were at 100, now down to 55 vills. Green with the nice number of 69. And here come the Mangudai for one more raid. But they might run into some Arbs there. Blue still feels a bit more out of the game than Yellow does. But Green is just in such a strong position. And there go the Arbs. That's a decent fight for the Mangudai, but still not really the type of fight they want to take. Castle Age Mangudai against Imperial Age Vietnamese Arbs with extra HP. That's 48 HP, and they'll clean up the Mangudai. And that was a rough loss for Yellow. Did a good job taking the hill, but just not something that really can fight. And oh no, now Green, he's realized he's cleaned the right side of the map, comes over to the left side, and looks like that'll be the end of the game. As see, I didn't see a chat there, but I think our team probably resigned at that point. Sometimes the game doesn't save the chat right at the end, but very fun game to watch. As it just says game over and doesn't give me the stats. Sometimes Capture Age bugs out like that. Let me just switch over to the game itself, and we'll check out the stats here. As military, 165 units killed, but Green got into a bit of an advantage at the end. Needed to go do a bit of raiding on Blue, help out his teammate early on, and that might have distracted him from not doing the damage he wanted to do to Green when he had that advantage. Still, great eco. Was floating a lot of wood there, needed to find some way to spend it. And, well, might have lost this game, but probably did the more important thing by winning in the first stage of the Tour de France today. So, if you want to be a cyclist, this is apparently how you train the day before your races. If you're a kid and your parents tell you that you need to stop playing video games and go outside, you can just tell them that you're training to compete in the Tour de France. So good luck to him if you're an Age of Empires player looking for someone to cheer for or follow throughout the event. Here you go. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.